Alright, so I saw this article on CNN's Opinion. This is on archive though, because I ain't giving them fuckers to click. The women in this James Bond installment are for real. Like, do you think they were fucking fake? But anyway, of course that didn't take long. It's the second damn paragraph, the first big paragraph, where she mentions, you know, it hasn't moved beyond its tired misogynist roots. It's like, man, don't take you long, does it? Get right to the point. And she's talking about, basically, oh, for all the hype around all the, and she lists, the Lashana Lynch's portrayal of the new 007, Leah Sedou's return as Madeline Swan, and all this kind of stuff. There's no guarantee that much actual cultural progress would be made this time around. And then she says, oh, well, there's progress indeed. And it moves away from the whole Queen and Country framing of the previous installments and everything. And, and then just goes on to talk about, well, that's a good thing that James Bond no longer, does everything for his country and all that kind of stuff. And then it's also talking about, there's an interesting part here, what you talk about. There's that part in one of in the Casino Royale movie where Bond comes out of the ocean and he's looking all jacked. Daniel Craig's all jacked and buff, and he's got his little shorts on and stuff, which is kind of like an inversion of a lot of times they would have the Bond girl come out of the ocean in her little bikini and stuff. So it's like they obviously did that for the female gaze. But here, she's still complaining about it because it says the revamp still came with a heavy dose of the male gaze and many of the same sexist tropes. And like talking about that scene, there's a chick who's cantering, Solange Demetrios, played by Katerina Moreno, cantering across the beach on horseback, all flowing hair and barely there bikini. And it's like, oh my god. The entire focus, the only thing that people talk about is him coming out of the ocean. But nope, you gotta try to turn it around and try to find some misogyny, some sexism, some male gaze somewhere. And it's like, you just sound like a dope. You sound like an idiot. And of course there's a part where, she talks about, Bond, being an old white man. Basically, the reticence of an older white man to relinquish his 007 designation to a well-qualified young black woman feels familiar. And everything. And it just goes on and on. It's freaking ridiculous. I do find, they do mention the movie's 2 hours and 43 minutes. Which, real quick, what the hell is it with all these movies being super long now? Like, you don't need fucking that long for the vast majority of movies out there. Most of them. Some movies you can say, okay, maybe they deserve it. Maybe they need it. But most movies, man, you could easily cut out 30 to 40 minutes of it and it would be a better movie. Because I don't know about you guys, but when a movie is like this long, 2 hours 43 minutes or 2:30 or whatever it is, it starts to feel like a slog most times. And it's not just because of any woke shit. It's just in general. Unless the movie's like constant action or constantly something interesting is happening, there's no reason for the movie to be that long. Anyway, I'll move on to the next story. This is from The Gamer. Again, it's on archive. It's kind of weird talking about Squid Game hates women. Squid Game is basically the hot new Netflix show. It's kind of like a battle royale type thing or whatever. But and this person goes on and talks about how women are the best characters in there, and basically talks about they both seem to harbor a deep. Talking about Cyberpunk 2077, both seem to harbor a deep resentment towards women, whether it's in their loyalty to gender roles or unflattering depiction of supporting female characters, the violence they exact upon women, which goes beyond that, which is exacted upon men. Not true in most cases. That is complete nonsense. Most movies will think nothing of having a man be tortured and beaten and stuff, but if this, they would never do that to a woman because it would be considered, oh, that's real torture porn, or that's misogyny, which is bullshit. But whatever. The way it treats women is very odd. And it goes on. She talks about here's some spoilers. So if you're for some reason, if you haven't watched Squid Game but you want to, and you're one of the few people who will watch this video, it's spoiler warning. Basically, it talks about how the unflinching desire to bring men, because basically the idea is that it's a game to the death. The losers are going to die. They all play these, large groups of people play these games. The losers die. The winners, basically advance on. They win. They continue on. And there's a whole lot more to it. I mean, don't get it twisted. I haven't seen the show, but I've heard good things about it. I don't know. But so don't let my just dismissive introduction to it, sway you one way or the other. But it's basically talking about the unflinching desire to bring men and only men, because basically she's talking about like in physical games and stuff, it makes sense to have a bunch of men, because men are stronger, men are faster, men are tougher, all that kind of stuff. It's like if we're talking just like games of chance or whatever, okay, maybe have a bunch of women in there, that's fine, ain't no big deal. But if you're talking like actual sports and physical competitions and stuff, come on, you don't want a bunch of men. That's not sexist. That's just reality. But anyway, the unflinching desire to bring men and only men aboard their teams make the Squid Game players look like AAA studio executives, with women being discarded as a possibility almost instantly. You know, this is a life or death game where one choice means a bullet in the head. There's no time for political correctness. And she even says men are traditionally physically stronger than women. That's true, but these are children's games. Physical strength is not an advantage. But then talks about, you know, there's a game of tug of war at one point. And it's like, I went ahead and read this article because I'll tell you right now, there's a bunch of spoilers and stuff. Obviously, I mean, she wasn't lying when she said a lot of spoilers. But it's the show seems interesting, but it's like, man, I'm really freaking busy with stuff, So I'll get around to this eventually, I'm sure. But it's just, and you're complaining about a show. She even mentions that like there's a great character in here that is a woman and is one of the better ones. And and she said, oh, she holds her up. She's awesome and stuff. But then she complains because bad things happen to her. And it's like, man, you know what's gonna happen in a movie like this. Bad things are gonna happen to people. It's like when people complain about they want equality and everything, but then bad things happen to those people when they're put in there. Like they're like, whether it's in sports or wrestling or whatever. Oh, we want more black people or movies or whatever. And then all of a sudden you have a black person that's a bad guy, or you have a black person get their, get their ass kicked or get killed or whatever, and they complain about it. Or they do it the same with women. They want to have, oh, let's have more women in sports. Let's have more women in these action movies. But if you ever have a woman get her ass kicked, people are going to complain about it. It's like, again, you can't win with these people. It's never enough. That's why it's best not to even, try to pander to them. I've said I don't know how many times, and I don't know how many times I've heard, tons and tons of people out there say the exact same thing. It's never enough. So why do you? Why do these places even try? But anyway, I want to go ahead and wrap this up here. This damn video is almost 8 minutes long. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.